I want to welcome and support the aims of this motion in terms of saving and fully appreciating the rural post office and the vital role it plays in rural life. Over the past months in this House, I have raised this issue and associated issues and always received the same response from the Minister. We are fully committed, I am quoting the Minister, to a policy that will see An Post remain a strong, viable company in a position to provide a high-quality postal service and maintain a national network of customer-focused post offices in the community. Support you on that one, Minister. The Government support this policy, and so I guess it's supported by Fianna Fáil. And yet the irony is that despite this, a commitment given in the programme for government still sees this issue remain, the threats remain, the uncertainty remains and grows even stronger as we hear ministers trot out the same rhetoric time after time. So a couple of weeks ago, Minister Norton reiterated the government's commitment to rural post offices. And since then, I have seen in local papers in Cork, the Cork Man, November the 3rd, quotes a postmaster, Henry Keogh, a fourth-generation postmaster, who says he will be the last such postmaster in Rockchapel, as the post office is no longer viable, and if closed, he points out that it will follow post offices in Cullen, Rathcoolmeal and Milford, etc. The same paper records the closure of Kishgame Post Office and the threats facing Duhallow. Up and down the country, this is repeated. And I am sure it is reassuring to postmasters who have worked for little more than the minimum wage to keep these offices open, and I am sure that it helps them as they see the offices closed, and I am sure that it helps the elderly and the isolated in the rural communities to hear that this is actually government official policy to keep them open, but yet they are closing day in, day out. So why, if it is government official policy, do we hear Jim Daly, the Director of Retail Operations in An Post, warned that many of the country's remaining 1,100 post offices are unsustainable and in effect are on the verge of collapse? I want to argue that this isn't simply because people are posting less letters or because we are in a new digital age, or that it is a sign of the times and it is inevitable. It is because the sector of rural post offices, have not been invested in, have not been protected, and their vital role and their social role in Ireland is not appreciated or valued. And this problem is compounded by decisions such as the threats and removals by the Department of Social Welfare of protection, of cheque payment schemes from the post office network, the insistence of government departments that payments to them are made by banker's draft rather than using the post office service, but also by the lethargy and the slowness in producing an actual plan that would see real investment in rural post offices. The constant threat that tendering government business such as welfare payments could be lost at some stage by An Post, and this is not to mention the issue that often trigger the actual closes, which is the reorganisation of the network and the sorting and delivery services being centralised outside of the office themselves. There is no real effort or vision, Minister, to set up an alternative banking system akin to New Zealand or to the Sparkassen in Germany, models of which are possible. We still await any real steps to introduce proposals such as the post office local community hubs with an extended range of services for the people living in those communities. The wider issue here, however, is embedded in the government and our economic policy, which is a neoliberal model, a model that says there is no alternative, that we have to see everything as being bought and sold and delivering a profit. But when I support this motion, I also think we should remember how quickly this state sprang into action to bail out the banks and the bondholders, and to compare that with the foot-dragging of the current minister and the government on this vital issue.
Deputy McClary.